Time.
Pleasure, James.
Beverly Head there. Well, women make up nearly half of the gaming community, but that's not reflected in the industry. More than 80% of game developers are men. But now a group of female coders wants that to change. Sarah Moran is the CEO of the Geek Academy, which has just launched the She Makes Games initiative. So I'm pleased to say she joins us now to share some of her thoughts about women in that tech industry. But really appreciate your time today, Sarah. Look, just to start with, I wanted to focus firstly on the She Makes Games. Just tell us about it. How did it come about and what is it?
What is it? So She Makes Games is a one-day event for women who are emerging in the games industry, and we all get together and bring in guest speakers, we have workshops, and a whole range of professional development to make sure that these women succeed when they actually make it out into their first jobs, their first roles, and those early career years.
In its third year, why? What's led to it? Why do it?
Oh, why do it? Well, the thing is, we're a group of women in industry, and we realised that the way to succeed is actually through friendship. And how else? What better way to develop friendship but to get together for one special day before Melbourne International Games Week, have a cup of tea, have some cupcakes, share some happy stories, some horror stories about our journeys, and really create that special bond together. So that's a dedicated time before Melbourne International Games Week, which we're currently in the middle of. To really make sure that we foster those friendships and those networks to help women succeed when they are throughout their career.
And can I ask as well, in the introduction, we spoke about the amount of women who are in gaming versus those who are actually developing the games. I mean, from your own experiences, why such a disparity? Why is there such low representation, do you think, when it comes to the actual development of the games?
Yeah, well, we see a larger disparity in STEM generally. So, it's becoming a well-known problem that, we lack the numbers of women in tech being represented. And that does obviously carry over to games. Now, games sits in an interesting space because it is that mix of technology and art and creativity. And it actually makes it ripe for attracting women into those industries. Where we like to improve our message to women is to really stress that when we talk about STEM, we're also talking about STEAM, and really focusing that art and that creative practice in STEM, and that we would like to see more women come and join us in the industry.
And how important do you think initiatives such as the She Makes Games go into fostering, if you like, that growth of representation?
Yeah, I think it's something that I've grown. It's ironic. I am a woman in industry, and to start off with, I was like, why do we need all girls events? Aren't we equal? Can't we just, enjoy the events that, that everyone else enjoys? But then what I realized is that when you have a room full of people who aren't like you, sometimes just having a dedicated space at an event like She Makes Games to just be with people who look like you, who understand what your world is like, sometimes just taking a moment to have that space has a really long-term impact on retention of women in the industry.
And from an industry perspective, what has been the response like from the industry, but also from participants about building greater gender diversity and representation?
Yeah, so this is the third time that we've run She Makes Games, and every year we change the format and what we do through the programming. And this year it was, blew me away. So we ran it at a location called The Arcade, and in Melbourne that's a dedicated home to game developers in Victoria. And to be able to do that, it was like, this is your home too. This is your space, you are welcome here. And so what that meant was, everyone who currently works in the arcade sees our women, and all of those women see, this is where I'm going to work one day. This is my future workplace. This is the space for me. So we get a really positive response, and the timing is perfect. Having it as a pre-event to Melbourne International Games Week means that those women then, you see the friendships all throughout the week blossoming, which is great.
Now, does this also feed into, the organisation, your organisation, which drives this, the Geek Academy, which, I love the name. I mean, is that...
Thank you.
Is that a sort of broader reflection of what you're trying to do here?
Yeah, the thing is, what people tell you is to focus. You know, when you're starting a business, you should focus. But the thing is, for us, we're like, well, our focus is on the inclusion of women in technology, and for us, that means we have to widen our focus a bit. That means we look at games, we also look at startups, we look at making, 3D printing. We're about to be at the Adelaide Maker Fair, which is on in 2 weeks, which is a coup for Australia to have a Maker Fair here, which is great. So we'll have our robots and our 3D printers all going as well. And the thing is that we learn a lot from cross-pollination. So we see something that works for inclusion in the tech industry, and we go, let's use that in games. Let's use that in making. Let's really transfer some of those learnings. So we're on a roller coaster ride, I can tell you.
And look, Sarah, is it getting better? Look, a lot's been made in the past, particularly as it relates to Silicon Valley, and about it being quite a male-dominated industry, to say the least. Your experiences of what Australia is seen as like, and is there traction being made? Are things getting better?
So what's interesting is in Silicon Valley, yes, it's male-dominated, but it is also mired in misogyny in a way that Australia, to the large majority, we have a lot less of that culture. In Australia, a lot of our businesses recognise the need for inclusion because it relates to business outcomes, that you're going to have a more successful business if you have a more diverse range of people solving your business problems. It's pretty straightforward. And so in Australia, I think our culture is a lot more healthy. That doesn't mean we don't have a long way to go. It doesn't mean that, we should stop because things can slip at any moment. But what it does mean is that when we have initiatives like She Makes Games or anything that we do at Girl Geek Academy, we're able to see success because we're in a broader ecosystem that wants this to happen. And so we are well supported. We do see support from the Victorian government, we see support from the federal government with our initiatives, and we need that support to continue so that we can flourish and actually say, hey, Silicon Valley, guess what? We're doing it better.
That sounds great. It's a wonderful initiative, Sarah. Really appreciate you coming on and telling us about it.
Thank you.
We're going to take a quick break here on Business IQ. When we come back, how you can help cancer research while you sleep. That's next.